What's up, everybody? It's Keefe, and you're watching another edition of GhostCultMag.com's Weekly Ritual, our weekly rock and metal news show. Here with you every week, streaming all over the web. We are not live. We are on tape this week because as I am recording this, or as you're watching this, I'm going to be flying across the country on a secret mission you're going to find out more about. But later in the show. So we're pre-recording this week's episode. We're experimenting a little bit with this, and we're going to see what happens. Hopefully it all works out. In the meantime, thanks for being here. If you're watching, do feel free to drop comments, ask questions. We will come back on after the broadcast and answer every question and answer all your things. So feel free to get at us this week. Not going to be live, but we're going to do our best. I hope you all had a pleasant and safe Halloween. And we are now into the month of November. Down the stretch we come for the music year. A very exciting last 8 weeks of the year. There's actually releases all the way through till almost Christmas. Unusual, but that's what's coming. So definitely check it out. Let's add the deck. Get the right layout here. The best experience for this show, as usual, is YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, X, or formerly known as Twitter. This week's episode will hopefully be uploaded to Instagram. Not sure if we can do with TikTok this week. It won't be live, so it's hard for us to do. So I do still have 2 of the screens instead of 3, so I will do my best to look at the different screens. But this is the experience. I'm looking at my notes up here and the camera up here, and you there. Me here, you there, talking METAL. So let us talk about the layout of the show. This is the intro. You're watching it. Then we do some announcements, usually some things going on in the world. And then we talk about the features here this week at Ghost Cult. There's quite a few. Then we run down the major festival announcements and the ones that are coming up. We are covering a few this weekend. Very excited. And then we go down concerts and one-off shows and tours. Then we go to run down the major news stories of the week, all the hot button items and edgelord things you need to talk about. And then we talk about New Music Friday. Huge release day, November 3rd, as you watch this. Huge release day. And then, and then we do a little fun thing from our mailbag. And then we bring it on home. I'm going to try to bang through this as quick as possible. It is late night. And I have a trip tomorrow, as well as work. Gonna cheers it up with a Liquid Death Severed Lime, one of my favorite flavors. Alrighty. So this is the show. That was the housekeeping. Here's the announcements. I'm gonna start this one off with a real rough one. This is Damien Danavall. He is my childhood best friend, and he passed away this past weekend. He was 49 years old. He's behind a wife and 3 kids. And dude was a legend. He's just an incredible person. And I hate you, cancer. And it really sucks that he's gone. He was an amazing, amazing person. We were very close as kids and teenagers. He moved away from where I was from in New York City. We were both from New York, born in the Bronx. He moved away to Atlanta as a late teen, went to college, became an award-winning biologist at the CDC. He was a pretty incredible dude, and he loved music and geek culture and toys, and he was super smart, and he made the whole world a better place, and I'm pretty sad he's gone. Rest in power, Damien. Anywho, moving on. Also, in the death notices, Richard Roundtree, the legendary actor. I know the word blaxploitation gets thrown around to an actor like Richard because he was iconic in the role of Shaft and other movies, but really he was a great actor. In general, you might also have seen him as the police chief in the movie Seven and countless other television and film roles. Guy was incredible, charismatic, handsome, fantastic actor. He passed away. Also, Matthew Perry, man, this like rocked the whole world. I'm not a big Friends fan, but I'm a Matthew Perry fan. And I like that he said, he struggled with depression, he struggled with substance issues, passed away kind of tragically. And he said, he spent the later half of his life and his money trying to help other people who struggle with the same things as him. And he said a pretty cool quote. I'm going to paraphrase here because I don't have the exact verbiage in front of me, but he said, I like to be less remembered for friends and more remembered for the other stuff that I did that tried to help people. And I think that's pretty great and something we can all aspire to. You more than a character this guy played on TV. He was a really cool person. And it's a shame he passed away at 54, very young. And then Aaron Spears, a legendary drummer, passed away just suddenly out of nowhere. Pretty shocking. This guy played with everybody across genres, mostly pop, R&B, rap, but gospel. He was an incredible, incredible drummer, and he also passed away this week. So, pour one out for your homies, and feel terrible. This guy again died just suddenly, no warning, no illness, not that we know of. Alrighty. So that's the announcements, and here's the features. Again, we are on all the socials. We are posting away like crazy on Threads and Blue Sky now. Thanks for inviting me. I know people are burned out in general by social media, so if you want to get off social media, you can follow us on Discord and Reddit, where you get a direct feed of all our content whenever it hits, not just our website posts, but our socials and our YouTube videos, and that's really your prime content for Ghost Cult. So definitely do check us out on these networks. And if you're on these social networks and you might be watching this video on a social network, if you're not subscribed, give us a subscribe. It helps us out. Give us a follow, give us a sub. We're also on Twitch. Try to get those numbers up. Speaking of YouTube, we just got memberships enabled, and I'm going to do a lengthier thing on this next week, but I will say, if you are watching this on the tube of you, as many of you are, or some of our finest content is on YouTube, consider becoming a member. We're going to do special perks just for members. There's a low barrier to entry, like $2.99 a month. We're going to do custom private live streams. We're going to take suggestions. We're going to do fun things, giveaways of merch at the higher levels. So definitely consider joining us, but we're going to have a more compelling pitch for you next week on this, but I'm really stoked about this. We're still repping the Solidarity Voices comp. This is supporting the Teamsters of San Francisco from Fine Chamois Records. Solidarity Voices, as you can see, the awesome Golden State Warriors, the state colors of California. I think it's also the Rams colors, right? Maybe the off color of the Dodgers, that same blue. But yeah, great comp, all kinds of different artists, punk rock and indie folk and metal, hardcore. Really cool. Really cool to be part of this thing. I've been very proudly repping this since the summer. More to come on this comp and that label, Fine Chamois Records. We, once again, mentioning again that the applications are now open for the Wacken Battle Metal Battle of the Bands. The winning band will play at Wacken Open Air, the granddaddy of them all, the greatest metal festival in the world. And Ghost Cult is a media partner, and hopefully I'm going to get to judge one of the competitions. I'm really excited about this opportunity, and very just amazed to be aligned with this incredible festival and this event all across the country. Just watch your local clubs and scenes and zines for where these are taking place. We will surely publicize this also later on this year and next. So kicking off this week, we got a couple of big interviews. We interviewed the guys from Angelic Desolation. They put out a new album this year. This is a Denver extreme metal, death metal, sometimes a little thrashy, sometimes a little grindy, but absolutely a death metal band. And their album, I'm going to say this wrong again, Orchestrionic Abortions, is out now. And this interview is hilarious. These guys are funny as hell. So definitely check out my interview with J. Matt and Leonard of Angelic Desolation. Also, we talked to Anton and Daniel of Savage Existence. Also, a few months ago, they just put out a new full-length album, kind of modern metal in the vein of Lamb of God, Pantera, Metallica, Slayer, and just a killer interview with those guys. Also, on the podcast front, we had 2 killer interviews this week that went live. One is a new one where Tom Osman, let me know if it's Osman or Osman. I guess I have to ask you this. Tom's one of our writers, is a British expat living in Berlin, and he interviewed Alan from Primordial. Primordial's new album, How It Ends, is out now on Metal Blade, one of the longest-running pagan-inspired black metal bands from Ireland in the world. And Tom's interview with him is fantastic. Also, our interview with Sagasawa of Blackbraid is now a podcast that originally appeared on YouTube, which you can watch, but also you can check it out wherever you listen to podcasts. So in addition to those, we also have a whole plethora of exclusive podcasts. This show will be a podcast if you don't make it through the whole thing and you want to catch up on it or listen to all our content. I know some people just binge listen, just like they binge watch Netflix. They binge listen wherever you listen to podcasts. In addition to the Ghost Cult Magazine podcast, we also rep the Heavy Business podcast that's brought to you by C-Squared Marketing and PR, where they interview people in the music industry and give free advice to bands on how to supersize your career. I am an upcoming guest on the podcast once again, my regular guest host spot. So shout out to them. Also, the other podcast I'm part of is the Glacially Musical Pouredcast, beer, metal, and swearing, sometimes vinyl, series and chasers, all about music. I will be in person this week in St. Louis. That's my big news. I'm flying to St. Louis to hang out in person with my podcast partner, Nick Cameron. Who knows what's going to happen when we get together in person? The fights and the love. Who knows what's going to happen? But we're going to go see Metallica a couple times and run around St. Louis and probably drink a ton of beers and eat a bunch of meats and get a lot of meat sweats and probably drive each other a little crazy and otherwise have a good time. But the latest Glacially Musical Pouredcast is the final episode in our series on GWAR, Ragnarok. We rank all the early GWAR records, which I think is valuable if you're a GWAR fan, and basically break down the heaviest GWAR album up to this point. And we also announced our new series on the podcast. So if you want to find out what we're going to do next, listen. And please support that podcast also. We don't have as many followers there as we do here. So if you're on YouTube, if you're on Apple, if you're on Spotify, please follow the Glacially Musical Pouredcast. And then, we have many reviews all week and every week, but I wanted to bring attention to this review. This is Don't Fall in Love with Yourself, the documentary about Justin Pearson. You probably know him best as the bassist of The Locust and vocalist of The Locust. He's also the bassist of Dead Cross. He's also the frontman of Def Club. He runs 31G Records. He's got a rap group called Planet B. He's in the group Satanic Planet, also on 31G Records. So Justin's had an incredible career. He's still kind of a relatively young guy. I just saw him recently with Def Club open for Converge, and this documentary about Justin is phenomenal, and it's got all kinds of superstar people in the music business talking about him, including his bandmate Dave Lombardo and Travis Ryan of Cattle Decapitation. So definitely check out this documentary and check out our review of the documentary on our site, ghostcultmag.com. And now it's time to talk about our friends at Sticker Mule. Sticker Mule is your one-stop shop for custom stickers. They also do coasters, buttons, shirts, all kinds of things, padded mailers with your branding on it. Sticker Mule is incredible. We have a new referral deal with them where if you sign up with our link in the description of this video, you get $10 off your first order, and we get $10 off our next order. So it's a really cool deal. It's one of those few collaborative deals. We don't support anything we don't use ourselves. So if you've gotten something in the mail from us, or you're going to get something in the mail from us, it's going to be with Sticker Mule stuff in it. And we're super stoked to partner up with them. So sign up at the link in our bio, or the link in the description of this video. Or our link tree also has this link. And now it's time for the news. I'm going to take another sip of this seltzer. We're plugging away here at the show. Pretty good. Making good time. Okay. Festival news. Here we go. This weekend, Ghost Cult is proud to once again cover Damnation and a Night of Damnation kicking off on Friday in Manchester, UK, headlined by Electric Wizard, Catatonia, Leprous, Enslaved, Amun-Ra, Amal-Nakrith. So many cool bands. Shout out to our own Duncan Evans and Rich Price. You definitely know Duncan from his reviews here at the site, or maybe his musical career. You know Rich from his many photos at Ghost Cult Mag, including his usual coverage of Bloodstock Open Air. So we're excited for Damnation Festival. Also this weekend, Punk in the Park in the Orange County. Our own Wayne Edwards is going out from the Midwest to cover this. I'm flying to the other side of the country to do something else, but Wayne's going to go cover Punk in the Park, beer, and a lot of punk rock, including Pennywise, The Return of Descendants, Circle Jerks, Goldfinger, and GBH, Buzzcocks, and a ton of other bands. This is a banger of a festival. We're really stoked to cover it once again. Kind of got that old Warped Tour vibe to it, don't you think? I think so. Also announced for next June, the Maryland Doom Fest, headlined by Whores, one of the final performances ever of Cirith Ungol, and many more bands. This looks sick. I might have to come out for this. I don't know about my travel plans yet for 2024, but this festival looks dope, and this is just the first announcement of bands. There's going to be many more bands announced. Very cool. Also announced 2000 Trees Festival for next summer. Gaslight Anthem already previously announced as a headliner, and now they announced pretty much the rest of the lineup. Manchester Orchestra, Boston Manor, so many Better Lovers, so many killer bands on that festival too. So very cool. Also Brutal Assault, which is the annual festival in Czech Republic held in a medieval fortress, has announced a ton of new bands, including Broken Hope, CAD, Darkest Hour, Evil Invaders, Guilt Trip, Campfire, Lick, Mental Cruelty, Party Cannon, Skeletal Remains, who have a new album they just announced, Snet, Black Dahlia Murder, and Whitechapel. That festival is headlined by Architects and Behemoth, as well as Triptykon, who are starting to pop up all over the place. So very cool stuff for next summer. Brutal Assault Fest. Also, the Austin Death Fest has announced a bunch of new bands. I can't read these in this tiny font of illegible black metal logos that can't be read. But Austin Death Fest, very cool. Trois Rivieres Metal Fest is next week. Very cool. That's, I think, a pretty much sold out now. But I used to go to this about 10 years ago at Plus, and it was phenomenal. So this lineup also looks sick. Inferno Festival, we seem to talk about them every week. They just added a bunch of new bands, including Take and Orbit Culture. So headlined by Dimmu Borgir, Take, At the Gates, Campfire, Candlemass, Borknagar, Solstafir, Fintroll, Me and That Man, Carpathian Forest, Cynic, Cattle to Cap, Nordjavel, Winter Phyleth, Keep of Kalison, Unreal lineup. I really want to go to this. See if we can make it happen. Also Shiprocked had previously announced a major lineup. Now they announced their stowaways, including Bumblefoot and a bunch of other headline band type people. Shiprocked is going to be headlined by I Prevail, and probably Code Orange I see on there, a bunch of other bands. So that's pretty cool. Shiprocked sells out every year, so it might even already be sold out. And the Bloodstock Open Air announced a huge amount of bands for this year, headlined by Opeth, also Architects, also Monomarth. This always looks like a good time. We cover it every year. I hope to cover it again next year. Nothing is ever guaranteed in the music business. I don't presume anything that we're going to get to do anything. We try to do stuff every year, and we hope to be, lucky enough to do these things again. Now stop clicking this can. Okay. Here is Thomas Gabriel Fisher. We've been talking a lot about Triptykon the last few weeks. They have been announced as one of the headliners of Fortress Fest, along with Wolves in the Throne Room. That looks pretty cool. I don't have the full poster for this yet, but I do hope to find it. So that's all the festivals this week. Let's hit into the concerts. Don't laugh, but the biggest tour of 2024 just got announced, and I shit you not, it's Creed. Yes, I said Creed. Creed, Three Doors Down, Chris Daughtry, and a bunch of other bands, Switchfoot, Big Wreck, Tonic, are all going on tour together. Those other bands are going to be on separate dates, but Creed, Three Doors Down, Daughtry on almost every date. They announced their reunion for next year with a cruise. That cruise sold out immediately. They added a second cruise. It's almost unheard of in the music business to add a whole second cruise. I used to work in the travel industry. And now a full-fledged, full coast-to-coast tour, which I think we expected. But don't laugh, Creed. This tour is going to sell out, and I bet it's going to be the most talked about thing of next year. Mark my words. Mark them. Metallica. A lot of Metallica news this week in this section and the next section of the show. But obviously the M72 tour resumes this week. I will be in St. Louis for both shows, Friday and Saturday and Sunday, as well as there's also the Metallica Takeover all weekend with bands. James Hetfield is doing a guitar book signing. I think Russ Halfin is doing a signing. There's the Metallica pop-up shop all over St. Louis. So this is going to be a lot of fun. I already saw the kickoff show of the tour in New Jersey, and now I'm going to catch the whole weekend. So I'll not only see Metallica, Pantera, Mammoth, WVH, but I'm also going to see the Sunday show with Ice Nine Kills and Five Finger Death Punch. And here's a picture of me. I got to meet Lars Ulrich last weekend here at the Costco by my house. I did end up going to that. It wasn't really fully planned, but I woke up early on Saturday and I got to meet Rob and re-meet. I got to meet Lars, and I got to once again and re-meet Rob Dietrich, who we interviewed last year. We'll link that in the description and also in the video on YouTube. But Lars is the man, and he was really nice for the second time. And we joked about meeting 25 years ago, and he was like, "Oh, I bet we haven't aged a day, either of us." I was like, "Bro." But he was real funny and real nice, and it was great. It was over quick, but 4 hours to wait to meet them, and then like 2 minutes. But it was fantastic. And I got an autographed bottle of the limited edition 72 Seasons Blackened American Whiskey. So I'm looking forward to having a sip of that eventually. Iron Maiden's recently announced U.S. tour goes on sale this week. Pre-sale is today as this video airs. It's already on. But the formal public on sale is Friday the 3rd. So definitely go get your tickets to see Iron Maiden on the Future Past Tour 2024. This was a surprise and a pleasant one. Shadows Fall is on the Headbangers boat this weekend. It's already on sailing, so I don't want to talk about it much on the show. But here, Shadows Fall has announced a 20th anniversary show celebrating The War Within, which turns 20 in 2024, and that will be at the Starland Ballroom. Those tickets go on sale Friday. Very exciting stuff for Shadows Fall. I believe they're working on new music. We may get to hear some soon. Sessanta, the tour from Pussifer, A Perfect Circle, and Primus, has added their final additional dates to the tour. It is now a coast-to-coast tour. Still kind of limited. It's only like 20 shows, but they did add a bunch more, including Boston and New York. So if you love those bands, don't miss it. Not only is each band going to do a headline set, they're going to do like a collaborative set at the end where they all jam together or some covers or whatever to celebrate 60 years of the birth of Maynard James Keenan next April. Maynard James Keenan of Tool. Brit Floyd has announced a big tour for 2024, the Pulse Tour. Don't know if that means they're going to play the Pulse album set list or tour set list, but Pulse, one of the best live albums ever of Pink Floyd. Very cool stuff. Slash featuring Malice, Kennedy, and Conspirators continue to add to the River is Rising World Tour. They've now booked New Zealand and Australia dates added to this poster that you keep seeing circulating around. Exciting stuff. Slash is out with his band touring behind their album from 2022, Thor, out now on Marshall Records. Marshall Records. This poster is Agnostic Front, which is doing a quick little tour with no redeeming social value. I believe the New York show you're seeing the poster for here has Sub-Zero on it. So killer. We love Agnostic Front. Also, not sure if this is a full tour or a festival, but ACXDC is doing this huge tour. I think this is in California on December 10th. Brat, Choke, Lockjaw, these are all incredible hardcore bands from all over, mostly the West Coast, but pretty cool. We've interviewed ACXDC before, so maybe it's time to talk to them again. I'm not sure if they have a new thing coming out or not. Also kicking off this week, In This Moment, Ice Nine Kills, and Avatar with New Year's Day opening. This looks like a fun tour. A very fun tour. And sadly, Udo, who was about to kick off a tour literally this week, has postponed his entire tour to 2024 due to logistical issues. We were seeing this pop up a lot. Logistical issues, can't get a bus, can't afford the gasoline, visa problems. He didn't say specifically what it is. Udo has 2 records out in the last year and a half. They're both bangers, originals, and covers. And I was really looking forward to this tour. I would really like to get out to see Udo one last time if this is it. I'm not sure, but be worth seeing. All right, it's time for the major news stories of the week. We're going to blast through this pretty quick, I think. I got to get to bed. Pack for my flight and go to bed. Mick Mars has dropped the puck on his solo career. The Other Side of Mars is his upcoming new solo album coming in 2024. He dropped a brand new single and a video. I'm muted. God damn it. All right. Anyway, Mick Mars, Other Side of Mars solo album. Coming soon. Loyal to the Lies, the single. All right, moving along. Once again, Dream Theater dominating the news cycle with the reunion with Mike Portnoy. And what we found out from Mike Mangini is he finally broke his silence and he said, look, he was kind of expecting this for a long time. The guys have repaired their friendships and he's totally cool with it and understood he's not happy, but he understood why this was going to happen. And he's, launching a solo career, so he's pretty stoked. Okay. Kirk Hammett, some more Metallica news. 2 Metallica items to wrap up all the Metallica news this week. Kirk Hammett has partnered up with the Gibson Custom Shop to release an Epiphone exclusive of his 1979, a replica of his 1979 Explorer guitar that you have seen in all the early Metallica footage, used on Kill 'Em All, used on Ride the Lightning. Kirk still plays these guitars. It comes in black and white, the classic, as well as the more recent purple that Kirk loves, one of his favorite colors. Fan base is pretty unhappy, and guitar collectors are unhappy because they range from $1,000 to $15,000, and there's really no in-between model. So maybe you can afford the $1,000 guitar. The $15,000 guitar is probably out of the price range for some people, but they look beautiful. I'm sure they sound great. If you love Metallica, if you love Gibson, if you love Epiphone, you might need that guitar. I don't know. Okay. Also, Metallica's marching band competition to win up to $150,000 in prizes is ending soon. So definitely, For Whom the Band Tolls is the name of the contest. Pretty cool. And yeah, absolutely get your entries in fast because they are closing it down. Here is Slipknot once again. We've been following them. They've been dropping a lot of bits of news and things, and now they have dropped a series of videos in conjunction with Resurrection Fest, which they headlined in Spain this summer. And now you can watch the full set list from Resurrection Fest over on YouTube at Resurrection Fest YouTube or at ghostcoldmag.com. We've got the video on our site. I never thought I'd be talking about this. This is pretty incredible. I'm not the hugest Beatles fan, and I don't know if you are the demographic for this out here, but the Beatles are releasing the final song in their career this week. And this is pretty incredible. I just watched a whole behind-the-scenes documentary about this. The song is called Now and Then, and basically there was when the Beatles reconnected in the 90s, John Lennon was murdered in 1980, and when the surviving Beatles reconnected in the mid-90s to release the Beatles' greatest hits albums that are hugely popular, they recorded a few new songs from demos that John Lennon had left behind, donated to them by Yoko Ono. And so the rest of the band collaborated on these tracks, and they had this other song that became Now and Then, and they couldn't finish it for whatever reason at the time because the technology they had was limited and the original tracks weren't that great. And the new technology that Peter Jackson, famous for Lord of the Rings, created to do the Get Back documentary with Disney last year revolutionized remastering audio, especially ancient audio from tapes. And they dropped it into this technology, into this software, this equipment, and then out comes this John Lennon demo that now sounds incredible, transferred it to digital, be able to manipulate it and work on it. The rest of the band came back and revisited what they had done with it to begin with 30 years ago, and now they're ready to release the final track in their career. So it's John Lennon's voice, his songwriting, Paul McCartney's songwriting and arrangements and bass lines, Ringo Starr, and even a solo from the late George Harrison. So this is pretty special to get a Beatles song. I know there's also a brand new Rolling Stones album, and those guys are alive and all, making music, except for Charlie, rest in peace. But let me know in the comments if you're excited about a Beatles song or could not care less. I think it's pretty exciting to get one. And I heard a little of it, and it sounds really good. So it's good that it sounds good. Slayer, if you're watching this on the streamers, I think this is a GIF. I'm not sure if it's going to work here, but Slayer has teamed up with DC, the shoe and sportswear company, for a whole line of kicks and shirts and other merch. It's going to sell out quick like everything else that DC does and everything that Slayer does, so definitely get in on this now. Don't hesitate. This is a bummer. There's a couple of bummer stories here in the middle of the news. The chants in Poughkeepsie. If you're from the East Coast, especially the Northeast, and you're a fan of metal or hardcore, or even going back further, a fan of classic rock, the Chance is a place you know well and love. They had their final show ever last weekend. Hatebreed was the final band ever to headline there. They've gone through some up and downs. Their former owner passed away 2 years ago suddenly at age 51, Frank Pallette, loved by many, and his family continued to run it, but the guys who bought the property want to redevelop the whole area in Poughkeepsie, and the Chance is probably done and never coming back. Just very sad. I've seen so many great shows there, and I have so many great memories. If you've got a great memory of the Chance, drop a comment and let us know your favorite Chance memory. Here is Foo Fighters on SNL. They were on Saturday Night Live this weekend. As the musical guest, here's them dressed as the Wizard of Oz entire gang. I especially like Josh Freese as the Scarecrow and Pat Smear as the Wizard. They played some new songs, acted in some sketches, because that's what Foo Fighters do. They're funny. Foo Fighters. Here's that other bummer story. This is or was Born Free in Tampa, Florida. This was kind of a biker bar that also hosted rock and metal shows and was owned and managed by Afzal Dean. You may know that name. He was a member of Crisis in the 1990s. He's also a political activist and very involved in the New York music scene, and moved down to Florida to do this venue. And they are now out of business. At least this venue is. There was a GoFundMe or some kind of fundraiser so they could open a new place up and cater to the same audience and the same bands. But that place is gone. That's a bummer also. I know Florida doesn't have as many, for such a big state and with many populous cities and many lovers of rock and metal, Florida doesn't have a lot of like middle tier clubs for metal shows. I know this from talking to people. Here's the aforementioned Maynard James Keenan of Tool. Tool giveth and they taketh away. We were hearing from both Adam Jones and Justin Chancellor that Tool is going to work on new music. They're on tour right now. They're coming back on tour in the winter before Maynard gets busy with Pussifer and A Perfect Circle. But the band is going to go into the studio to make some recordings, and then Maynard was like, don't get too excited. He says, I don't talk about new music until it's ready to come out, because he learned from the internet that people are dicks to him. When you make the fans wait 13 years between records, they get salty. But I understand that he doesn't have to be on our schedule. He's on his schedule. It also includes his vineyard and his many interests that are not music. So, okay, Maynard, okay. Here's a picture of John Candy playing drums for no apparent reason. John Candy's birthday would have been on Halloween, and I saw this photo. I do not own this photo, but I saw this photo on the internet. That is, I believe, W.C. Fields in the poster behind John Candy. But there's John Candy in the 60s kind of playing drums. Military style, pretty good. Military grip. Legit. Metal people, and the NFL loves metal people. They love metal music for halftime, and they love metal music for commercial breaks, and they love metal people and rock people to do the national anthem, but never anything else like the Super Bowl. But here's Joey Belladonna at the Denver Broncos game this week doing the national anthem. He killed it. He's great. We love Joey. Joey from Anthrax. And also Jerry Cantrell was at the Seattle Seahawks game playing the national anthem Jimi Hendrix style with his very cool glasses on. This is a really great story. You might hate Five Finger Death Punch. A lot of people do. They have teamed up with Covenant House to raise money for charity. Covenant House's mission is to support homeless and at-risk youth teens, which is a passion of Five Finger Death Punch. Is also a passion of mine. Homelessness can be stamped out in our life if we just put some effort into it. But there's no way anyone can make a profit off of it. So there you go. But very cool, Five Finger Death Punch. Always doing a lot of stuff with charity, always treating their fans great, even if you hate them. They love you. Kind of like Jesus. This is another one that might break you up a little bit inside. Wayne Swinny of Saliva passed away earlier this year. He had a brain hemorrhage and then passed away a few days later. The Hard Rock Cafe in Nashville has now a permanent display of Wayne's guitar and stage wear and tributes to him. There was an event over the weekend in the Hard Rock in Nashville where his family and the band got together to sort of pay tribute to him and break in this exhibit, open this exhibit at the Hard Rock. So very cool stuff. Just horrible that he just passed away so suddenly. Not an old guy by any stretch, a young guy still making music. Here is Job for a Cowboy. Job for a Cowboy has released a new video for their recent single, and that I believe is Left to Rot. That here too. Yep, the Forever Rot, excuse me. From their comeback record coming out on Metal Blade Records in early next year. We originally broke the story a year and a half ago that the band was reuniting in the first place. So I think it's very cool. Almost done here. Hey kids, do you like Primus? Do you want to see me stick 9 Inch Nails through each one of my eyelids? Do you like Eminem? Mom's Spaghetti, Eminem's food brand that has shops in Detroit and occasional pop-ups everywhere else that sells pasta sauce, pastas, and meatballs, is now shipping their sauce all over the country. The first batch actually sold out in like 2 days. So you think that this can't succeed, anything is possible. I think it's pretty fun. And I'd like to try it. If I get my hands on a jar, I will make some pasta with it and try it out. And let you know how it is. Do a food review. Prison, the hardcore band from Florida featuring Johnny Crowder, released a brand new album, Energy, just surprise released it last week. And killer record. Highly recommend you pick it up. Johnny also has the incredible inspirational brand Cope Notes that helps with mental health. I highly recommend it. We'll link all that in the description. Time to get big time mad as we almost end the news here soon. Rolling Stone did a list of the top 250 guitarists of all time. And it is a pretty terrible, incomplete, shitty list that kind of shows, again, Rolling Stone is really a lifestyle politics magazine that sometimes masquerades as a music magazine. Historically, it was super important to music, especially here in America. And the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is this weekend. I didn't even put it in the news because it's like I care, but I don't care. Iron Maiden and Soundgarden are not in, so I don't care. We'll talk about it next week. But this list, somebody was like, "Why is Yvette from Covet the most hugest picture there?" Because clickbait. She's attractive and she's a great guitar player, but like this picture sucks and Rolling Stone sucks. This list is crap. Have you checked out the list? What do you think about it? Drop us a comment and let us know. Typo Negative is releasing a deluxe vinyl edition of Life is Killing Me. This got introduced just in time for Halloween, and it's on sale now. I believe they're going to start shipping it this weekend. Check out these vinyls. There's a few other vinyl variants depending on your shop that you go to. So go to typonegative.com and buy it from there and then figure out which one you want. I think it's pretty cool. Great record. It's probably like one of the few I don't have by them. So I don't know if I can afford it right now with this trip coming up, but maybe I will spring for it. It's also the holidays are coming. Speaking of, I said last week, maybe we're going to make this a section every week, vinyl reissues and vinyl news. So this is Pink Floyd's Atom Heart Mother, which is getting a deluxe vinyl version. Look at all the stuff that this comes with. It's actually not that expensive, similar to the more recent releases by Pink Floyd, the reissues. Speaking of reissues, as part of Ipecac Recordings' 25th anniversary, finally back on vinyl, as the poster says, Peeping Tom in a bunch of variants. That is the supergroup with Mike Patton and a ton of other guests. Some of them are wild, some of them are predictable partners of his, but I love Peeping Tom. It's a really great project. And another kind of must-buy. Stay tuned to Ipecac Recordings for all their 25th anniversary celebrations all through next year. And speaking of reissues, Merciful Fate re-released their classic, heavy metal classic, Melissa, right in time for Halloween. They re-dropped the remastered version to digital. They've already done, I think, a vinyl remaster. You can buy all that from metalblade.com/Merciful Fate. We're getting a new Merciful Fate album and a new King Diamond album in the next year or so. Both. So that very exciting stuff. And then I think King Diamond put out a music video this week too. Just all the news. I just think this photo is fun. Dolly Parton, You Are the Queen. She just put out a rock record. She made the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and she felt like, I'm now obligated to make a rock and heavy metal record. I think that's baller. And here's Dolly. She's the best. She's a treasure. It's New Music Friday. We're going to do something special we have not done before here on the show. As you know, every week we put up a video, highlight reel, if you will, of all the new music coming out at the end of the week. Every week we put out one of these videos. And the main video lives on YouTube, but then we put smaller clips out on Instagram and TikTok and what have you. And normally at this point of the show, I just read the list and give my opinion. But what I'm going to do is actually play the video in case you missed it. So here's a little break for me, and now you get to check out the video. 1, 2, 3.
Look at New Music Friday.
Angra, Cycles of Pain, Atomic Fire Records. As the Palaces Burn, Drowning into Shadows, Rock Shots Records, Asteroid Witch and Green Seeker, Split, Electric Valley Records, Atreyu, A Torch in the Dark EP, Spine Farm Records, Bad Wolves, Die About It, Better Noise Music, Black Knife, Baby Eater Witch, Wise Blood Records, Brickville 3, Pelagic Records, Carnation, Cursed Mortality, Season of Mist, Dirty Honey, Can't Find the Brakes, Dirt Records, Dying Wish, Symptoms of Survival, Sharp Tone Records, Ego Planet, Self-Titled, Argonauta Records, Exiled Hope, Altar of Moloch, Self-Titled, Foul Body Autopsy, Crucifix Dreams, EP, self-released, Fuming Mouth, Last Day of Sun, Nuclear Blast Records, Gong, Unending Ascending, K-Scope Music, Gozer, The Path Always Leads to the End, EP, self-released, Green Lung, This Heathen Land, Nuclear Blast Records, Gypsy Pistoleros, Duende a Gogo Loco, Earache Records, Insomnium, Songs of the Dusk EP, Century Media Records, Contrast, Mad World, Napalm Records, Cranium, Scriptures of Decennial Defilement, Unique Leader Records, Crypta, Autoloxo, Svart Records, Melancholia, Book of Ruination, Brutal Panda Records, Mourn, Engraved with Pain, Metal Blade Records, Mortuary Drape, Black Mirror, Peaceville Records, Motorhead, Another Perfect Day 40th Anniversary Edition, BMG Music, Mugshot, Cold Will EP, Pure Noise Records, Painted Black, Famine, Revelation Records, Penitence, Enrique, Nature Morte, Ladlow Records, Rosa Fainskap, Jeg Blir Til Deg, Fiesk Format, Salt Pig, Self-Titled, Res Frequency Music, Satan's Fall, Destination Destruction, Steamhammer /SPV, Serenity, Nemesis AD, Napalm Records, Seventh Crystal, Infinity EP, Frontiers SRL, Seizure, Rainmaker, Gramophone, Silent Planet, Super Bloom, Solid State Records, Sleep Bomb, The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, Cool Arrow Records, Spirit Box, The Fear of Fear EP, Rise Records, Pale Chord, Stenched, Gorging on Mephitic Riot, Strigoi, Bathed in a Black Sun EP, Suffocation, Hymns for the Apocrypha, Nuclear Blast Records, Spartanaut, Last Days on Earth, The Sign Records, UFO Mammoth, Crookhead EP, Supernatural Cat, War Crab, The Howling Silence, Transcending Obscurity Records, Watain, Die in Fire, Live in Hell, Agony and Ecstasy over Stockholm, Nuclear Blast Records, Zoth, Exogalactic, Dawnbreed Records, Yawning Balch, Volume 2, Heavy Psych Sounds, and Zornheim, The Forgotten Inmates EP, Noble Demon Records.
And put me in, coach. I'm ready to play. Not too bad, not too bad. So that's the New Music Friday. Let me get the screen back, of course, the way I wanted it. Now for a look in the mailbag. This is really cool. I got this as a gift. This is, I don't know if you're fans of punk, but this is the Suicide Machines flexi disc. Look at this beautiful thing, Awake. This is in the style of their artwork they've been doing a lot of lately. And got a cool QR code there if you want to scan it and listen to the music. But here's the flexi disc. The flexi disc, this is fantastic artwork, and it's just the perfect delivery system for a single. I love these things. I still have a bunch of them. I don't know if you collect Decibel Magazine or read Decibel Magazine monthly. If you subscribe, you get the flexi they put out, which is always usually some killer exclusive single. So that is the mailbag this week. No doubt I will come back next week from my trip with a bunch of shit I probably don't need, but that's what I do. I travel, I check out record stores, I go pick up stuff, I have fun. I'm looking forward to my trip. I fly out in 11 hours. Fudge. All right. That is our show. I have been Keefe. You have been great. And as we say every week at this juncture of the show, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and stay as metal as humanly possible. I'm out. And thank you.
Look.
No, that's the wrong one. Haha. That's at the ending.